Hello, I'm Andrew Cass, Vice President of Business Development for Wealth Masters International. I'm here with Wayne Allyn, who is the lead presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party as President of the United States in 2012. An absolute honor to be here with you today. Why don't you give the folks today a background on who you are? I know you're featured on many national networks, but go ahead.
Sure. In the media a lot, on Fox News a lot, weekly on Savage Nation to over 8 million listeners. A lot of talk shows around the country feature my opinions on both economic issues and political issues. But I think most importantly, the way I describe myself as an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, as a small businessman, as a homeschool dad of my 4 young kids, and most importantly as a citizen politician, which I think is what we need in Washington, D.C. Someone who has never had a connection to big government or the Beltway political ways.
Now, Wayne, talk about your platform, your objective, your mission in 2012 running for president. What is your stance?
Wait, first we left something out. We got to talk about my new role.
You know what? We did leave something out. Wayne Allyn has just been nominated recently as the new Senior Economic Advisor here at Wealth Masters International. And I'm gonna backtrack that. Next question I want to ask you, because I know you could have chosen hundreds of companies to work with, but you chose this one. That being said, though, what is your mission and your message as a candidate in 2012?
Well, the message is a simple one. It's economic freedom and it's personal freedom. It's leave you alone when you're working in your office, leave you alone in your bedroom, leave you alone when you're looking at your bank account, leave you alone when you're feeling for your wallet. It's all of those, you know. It's open your wallet, look at me. I promise to stay the hell out of there if you vote for me. So it's all of those things. But in a nutshell, it's smaller government, it's less entitlements, it's less spending by government, it's lower taxation so people keep more of their own money, and it's more freedom for the people. I think that's a pretty simple agenda, and I think it's one that's the polar opposite of what we're seeing in government today.
And isn't that the way the Constitution intended it?
It certainly is the way the Constitution intended, but here's the problem. 99%, that's a pretty big number, of every bill proposed and passed in Congress, Senate, and by the President today is unauthorized by the Constitution. In other words, it's illegal.
Wow.
Everything out there is unconstitutional, and yet it's passed every day. We're breaking the laws of our founding fathers. It's very sad, and I think someone needs to, kind of straighten things out and kick some butt out there.
And that's hopefully part of our message now. As you know, as the new Senior Economic Advisor here, the message of Wealth Masters is financial education, empowerment,
financial freedom,
taking ownership of your life. It's a personal growth platform, if you will. You could have chosen probably hundreds of companies to join, to be on the corporate board of. Why Wealth Masters?
Well, because the old way isn't working. Investing in Wall Street isn't working. Getting a job on Wall Street isn't working. Getting a job with a big corporation isn't working. Government certainly is not working. Government isn't the solution. They're the problem. So it's time for a new way, and Wealth Masters provides that way. Wealth Masters is all about entrepreneurship, financial literacy, financial education, financial freedom, giving you the tools to understand how to manage your money better in what is the economic crisis of our lifetime. And I'm very proud to be associated with a company like that. Politically, I'm trying to make people understand that small business creates the majority of jobs, that small business creates 75% of all new jobs, pumps the majority of money into the economy, pumps the majority of taxes that run our government, and yet most people don't understand that there's no freedom when you work for somebody. The definition, Andrew, of capitalism is I start a business and I go out there and I sell a product for $100. And you got the cost of the product, you got the cost of doing business, and you have the cost of the employees. Your job as an entrepreneur and as a capitalist is to keep the cost of employees as low as possible. You want to pay them the least possible so the most is left over for you, the entrepreneur. Well, that's great for the entrepreneur. That's why you want to own your own business. That's why you want to be your own boss. That's why you want to control your own destiny. But it's a pretty lousy thing for the employee because the employee is kept down. That's the whole job of capitalism. Keep the employees' expenses low so you can make money. Well, I want everyone out there to break the bonds of slavery of being an employee and to learn the joys of being an entrepreneur and being your own boss. I can't imagine any other way to make a living.
In 2006, Robert Kiyosaki and Donald Trump wrote a book called Why We Want You to Be Rich. Have you heard of the book?
I've heard of it.
They wrote the book in 2006 because they really feared what was going to happen is now happening. And the number one reason in that book why they want everyone to be rich is because they feared that the middle class was shrinking so much in this country that you'd either be really rich or really poor one day. And the one reason they mentioned in the book was due to the lack of financial education.
Right.
So here we are with Wealth Masters, possibly the first ever financial education-based product line within this direct marketing industry. What are your plans now as somebody who has an incredible background, both politically and as an entrepreneur and as an SOB, son of a butcher. What are your plans here as the new Senior Economic Advisor with Wealth Masters?
Well, I've got a bunch of roles. I'm on the advisory board of Wealth Masters, Senior Economic Advisor, and I like to say Chief Recruitment Officer.
Yes.
I want the whole world to understand the joys of taking control of your life, working for yourself, seizing opportunity. As I talk about in all my events that I give speeches all over the world, I always say the same thing. It's a lie when you're told opportunity only knocks once. And people always assume what I'm going to say is, oh, it knocks all the time. No, it never knocks. Opportunity does not knock. You got to become a caveman. You got to search it out like a heat-seeking missile. You got to grab it by the arm and with a club, bang it into submission, drag it home, and make your opportunities. Create them, manufacture them, because no one's going to give them to you. And this is a way to do it. You got to have financial literacy. You got to be educated about what to do with your money. Here's another major point. It's one thing to be an entrepreneur and to be in control of your life and be your own boss. But what if you earn a lot of money and then you lose it all because you give it to the guys on Wall Street who have severe conflicts of interest, and now your money's gone? What was the point of working all those years? The answer is, not only does this business give you a chance to be your own boss and make a lot of money, it also gives you the education and the literacy to manage your money in even the worst of times, so you multiply it instead of subtract it. I can't think of anything more important except my family, and I want to give my family the best, and the way to give your family the best is to be an entrepreneur, to be your own boss, to bring home as much money as possible, and then the last thing is to hopefully elect some politicians like me who want you to keep more of your own money instead of giving it to government so they can waste it.
Wayne, I don't know if I told you, I spent 10 years on Wall Street. CEO of our company, Kip Herridge, spent 15 years on Wall Street. So combined, we have 25 years experience on Wall Street. Yeah, exactly, quarter of a century. And you know, we came to the realization that Wall Street's broken. Folks that are doing things the old way, handing money over to complete strangers to handle their most important asset is broken. It's not working. We've seen Bernie Madoff type situations becoming the norm. We've really just seen a model that hasn't worked. Now, the message here at Wealth Masters is to give folks back control, to take ownership of their finances so they don't need to rely on strangers anymore. And one of the analogies that I always use, and you're an entrepreneur, is if you owned a business and you're a business owner, you wouldn't just hand over the day-to-day duties of your business and just say, hey, give me a call once a month, let me know how the business is going, and you know, we'll see how it goes for 10 years. But that's essentially what we're doing here in America with our money. We're handing it over to complete strangers.
Not even that. We're handing it over to strangers who have severe conflicts of interest.
Exactly.
There's two problems on Wall Street. Number one, they want to sell you all day so they can earn commissions. Number two, on the back end, not getting a commission from the person that gives them the money, but on the back end, there's severe conflicts because they want to recommend companies, and in return, they want that company's business. Severe conflicts of interest. So when you asked me earlier, why did I choose, of all companies, Wealth Masters? Listen, I met Kip Herridge, I met Carl Bessie, I met you, I met fine individuals. That was great. That gave me a lot of confidence. Then I sat down and I listened to Kip and Carl talk about how Wall Street was backwards and how all the conflicts of interest meant you're selling people, even if it's a product they don't need or want. You are selling people on a company that maybe is crooked, but you're saying it's good because you want their business. And yet Carl and Kip have this great idea, this amazing idea, this solitary idea out there, unfortunately, that they have no conflicts of interest. They're going to show you the right way to manage your money, to become financially free and financially literate, to educate you the way you were never educated in, unfortunately, school or